On the 22nd of February, a Hong Kong-based fashion influencer known globally went missing. Days later, her dismembered body parts were found in a rented apartment. The name Abby Choi, once remembered for being one of the most sought-after influencers in the industry, will forever be tied with one of the most horrific crimes Hong Kong has ever witnessed. The shocking news of her murder rocked the headlines just 2 weeks ago, earning the ominous nickname the Human Butchershop. So brace yourself for a journey into the darkness as we uncover every chilling detail of Abby Choi's untimely and tragic end.
And a warning, some of the details in this story are disturbing.
Abby Choi was more than just a model and influencer. With a following of over 100,000 on Instagram, she's what some would call a trendsetter, who embraced luxury fashion, and her stylish flair and stunning looks had landed her a front row seat at the Paris Fashion Week, where she had attended a Dior show weeks before her tragic fate. Her last Instagram post featured a photo shoot with L'Officiel Monaco, which found her on the front cover of the publication's February issue, titled "One of the most sought-after influencers in the industry," sadly marking her final successful milestone in her promising career. Abby came from a wealthy family with business dealings in China, and her net worth was reportedly 100 million Hong Kong dollars, equivalent to roughly 10 million pounds or $13 million. Abby found love young, and at the age of 18, she married her first love and went on to have 2 children with a man named Alex Kwong, an encounter that would ultimately change the course of her life until her untimely end. They went on to start a family together, having 2 children. The marriage was short-lived though, and the pair parted ways just 3 years later, and Abby found love once again with a man named Tam Chuk Kwan, and the pair was set to live happily ever after, having 2 more children. Despite Abby's recent divorce, she continued to provide a generous amount of support to her ex-husband and his family, which is a representation for the type of woman she was. She even went as far as providing them with a luxury apartment to live in, and helped her former brother-in-law, Anthony Kwong, purchase his first home. It's fair to say Abby and Anthony, the ex-brother-in-law, shared a close bond, with him serving as her personal chauffeur and a business partner. He often referred to her as sis on his Instagram and included the tag family on their photos. Abby Choi was a big deal, not just in the fashion industry, but also in the hearts of those close to her. Things took a dark turn on Tuesday the 21st of February when Abby was reported missing. According to a police insider, Abby's chauffeur and former brother-in-law Anthony was believed to have driven to Kadori Hill to meet the model. They were supposed to travel together to pick up Abby and her ex-husband's daughter, but something had gone wrong, as she never did get to her final destination to pick up her beloved child. Authorities were notified of the missing model, and the investigation into the missing influencer commenced. Due to the information of Abby's last whereabouts, the police first contacted the brother and parents of Abby's ex-husband, but that's where they hit a roadblock, as all 3 provided false and misleading statements. It immediately seemed that someone was trying to cover up something sinister. As the investigation progressed, an interesting piece of evidence came to light. Abby's ex-father-in-law, named Kwong Kao, rented a house in the village of Lung Mai Tusen earlier that month. This was something that raised suspicion, and authorities set off to investigate the newly rented home. When the police arrived there and inspected the property, what they found was straight out of a horror scene.
Pieces of 28-year-old Abby Choi's body were found in an apartment refrigerator.
That Friday the 24th of February, the police made the gruesome discovery of parts of Abby Choi's dismembered body. The house had been carefully prepared as a site for cutting up the body before pieces were disposed of. Upon first inspection, detectives found Abby's severed legs inside a refrigerator, but her head, torso and hands were nowhere to be seen.
Police say she was meticulously dismembered, and that they're still searching for the rest of her remains.
As the police slowly walked through the slaughterhouse, they found more parts belonging to Abby Choi, including her skull, hair, and several ribs in a cooking pot. A hole in the back of the skull indicated that Choi had been fatally attacked. Police also discovered a meat slicer, an electric saw, a face shield, human tissue, and a handbag belonging to Abby. Superintendent Alan Chung of the Kowloon West Regional Crime Unit was the first on the scene and reported some of the graphic details. When we found the 2 pots of soup at the scene, one of the pots was almost full and covered with thick fat. Some green and orange carrots and meat believed to be human flesh. At the bottom of the second pot lied the severed head. It was a skull with no skin or meat on it, just hair. Forensic experts recommended that we did not carry out any inspection at the site to preserve evidence, so we decided to transport the pots to a mortuary for further inspection. DNA testing and dental records determined that they were of Abby Choi's. Police had their main suspects, a crime scene linking to the suspects. The only missing thing was a motive. As the investigation progressed, it became clear that Abby Choi had been in the middle of a financial dispute with her ex-husband and his family, involving tens of millions of Hong Kong dollars. Abby's decision to sell the 70 million Hong Kong dollar property, which she bought in her former father-in-law's name, enraged him, and he reportedly plotted the murder. Authorities had everything they needed to form the case against the family, and that very same day, Abby's ex-husband, his father, and his brother were all charged with murder, along with the Kwong's family mother, who was charged with perverting the course of justice. Alex Kwong, the ex-husband, was apprehended at Hong Kong's pier, attempting to flee by speedboat with 500,000 in Hong Kong dollars and around 4 million worth of luxury watches. The police also arrested 47-year-old woman called NG in connection to the case. She is suspected to be the lover of Kwong's father and has been accused of renting him the ground floor of the house where the skull and other body parts were discovered. It's not known yet if she knew of the gruesome murder that was happening below her. As the investigation unfolds, it becomes clear that one of the suspects, Anthony Kwong, the ex-brother-in-law of Abby, may have played a particularly sinister role in the murder. Some suggest that he may have deceived Abby, whom he shared a close relationship with, into meeting him under false pretenses before driving her to the rented apartment where she met her untimely end, instead of driving her to pick up her child. This theory gains weight because that 7-seater vehicle he was driving was found to have blood spatters inside. Despite these shocking developments, Abby Choi's torso and hands remain missing.
Once we have any clue, we will do a thorough search again to find the torso and other parts of the missing body.
The news of Abby Choi's murder sent shockwaves throughout Hong Kong, where violent crime is relatively rare. Her death was one of the most shocking the city has ever seen since 2013, when a man killed his parents and left their heads in refrigerators. Abby Choi's case was reminiscent of a 1999 case where a woman was kidnapped, tortured, and killed, and her skull was found in a Hello Kitty doll. Police continue to search for Abby's torso and hands, and the investigation will continue. As the hearing of the murder case was adjourned to May, the people of Hong Kong remain haunted by the tragedy, questioning how someone like Abby Choi, with all her success and beauty, could fall victim to such a terrible fate.